So if the boundary is I am at the coffee shop and I am working, or I'm at the coffee shop enjoying my book and my nice cup of cocoa, then that is what you're doing. And so a lot of times people are like, well, let me go and find something wrong, or let me go and find a fire that I can put out because I am feeling unproductive now because I'm reading a book in a coffee shop and having hot cocoa and something is wrong. So let me find something that feels familiar, right? And so a lot of the work that we're doing is boundaries. Like, what's the boundary that you're putting in place? If you are out of office, your boundary is I'm out of office. Welcome to CEO Conversations, the private practice podcast. I'm your host, Brandy Mabra. It's time to show up as a confident leader to create a practice and life you love. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of CEO Conversations, the private practice podcast. It is Brandy Mabra. And today we're taking back our time. Yay! So 2026 at this point in time is just around the corner. And I know for me, this year has been crazy when it comes to time management. I've had to really get clear on where my time is going just because it's had to go so many different places, personally, professionally, and your time is valuable, right? So it always takes me back to when I was struggling inside of my practice and my time management was awful. I was putting out fires left and right. My desk was a mess. Like there was just no organization. And my team was coming in and out with all these questions. And I was just fighting for my life every single day. Every day. And the number one issue was how I was spending my time. When we think about the practice, there are, especially when you have a team, it's important for how you spend your time. Like the most important, you're the most important person inside of your practice. But also some of these things can even drip down to team, right? So there's like conversations that we have with our clients where I think my team member's having a time management issue. I think my leadership team is having a time management issue. I think my provider is having a time management issue. So when you have time management issues, I'm going to challenge you because look around your office and see if your office has time management issues. Because I will tell you from my experience, even once I got more clear on my time, I was able to lead more effectively and at a higher level. And I was actually able to help my team have better time management because I had better time management. So when we think about time is one of the most valuable things that any one of us have. We can never get back time. We can always make more money, but we can never get back time. So anytime that I'm working with somebody or anytime that people want to be part of private practice CEO, one of the number one objections, you guys have heard me say this before, is time and money. And so I always think about like, how much time do you really have? You know, like if you are just struggling on the struggle bus all day long, or you're being challenged inside your practice, or you've been able to get to, hey, I'm at multiple six, I'm at seven figures, but you want to go after more, that time piece becomes really important. And a lot of people will just turn their wheels for years compared to what's the easy way? How can I save more time so that way I can move on to something else, right? And so a lot of times when we think about time, it's even the delegation piece, right? So it's easier for me just to do it. I'm just going to save time if I just do it. And technically you won't. You won't save time. It might feel that way, but you won't necessarily save the time. And so I always find with our clients, it's one or two things. I'm going to spend my time in the weeds of my practice because that feels productive to me. Sometimes I'm going to take this time because it makes me feel safe compared to spending my time for what I really want to do. So if that is where you're being called to speak on a stage, you're being called to write a book, you're being called to market at a higher level with more visibility, because of your mindset, you will find a way to spend that time doing something else that will not move your practice forward. And so time is money, but time is also more valuable than money from my lens. And so it's important for you to really pay attention to what you're doing. So there's like the standard things that you can do. And even our clients do this where every quarter we have our clients in some way, shape, or form end up doing a time study. So I am not the first person to do this, but it's very powerful when you start to pay attention to where is your time going at currently. So if you haven't done a time study, if you don't know what a time study is, you at this point in time, you can chat GPT it, you can Google it, you can go watch a YouTube video on it. I'm not going to tell you this is how you do a time audit, but you need to pay attention to where is your time going. The other piece of this is what is your energy throughout the day and how you're spending your time. So I know for me, when it comes to time, I am a slow mover, right? So I'm one that likes to dawdle in the morning. I'm the one who wakes up. I'm the one who needs my coffee. I'm the one who kind of just pedals. I'm just like the old lady, right? That's kind of sipping around just aimlessly with my cup of coffee. And that works for me. So my day does not really get started when it comes to work until like 10 or 11. And I like it that way. I think about in my corporate days where I had to be at work like right at 8. And I am thinking like, how did I do that? Like how in the world did I get out on time to get to work at 8 a.m. and be ready to go? And then I think about myself, no, actually I wasn't ready to go. I would be at my desk, but I would be like a version of not productive self. And I would have my coffee and I would sit there and look at my to-do list. And then I would like my default always was let me just go talk to my team because it would allow for me and my brain to kind of wake up. So when I think about my time, then my time, like that energy piece is I don't want to necessarily put the hardest thing on my to-do list at that point in time because I'm still trying to get my brain together. So when we think about energy, how is your energy? How do you show up? The flip side to this, I know my energy, again, I'm a slow mover. I like to take my time with things. My energy turns off at like 2 p.m. So my prime time of working really is from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And in that is when I show up my best. And that is when I'm able to have the best ideas. And that is when I can speak the most clearly. If you get me after 2, and my clients will tell you this, if we're on a one-on-one after 2 p.m., I will be like, what did you say? Or did that make sense? Did I speak English? I don't know if I communicated that well because my brain, it just doesn't work that way. So I definitely don't put hard things for myself in the afternoon. And so when we think about how you're setting up your time, how you're setting up your calendar, is your calendar set up for success? There's different seasons that we have, and I don't know if people really pay attention to this, but once you have a calendar, it's not really a set and forget it. It's more or less like, this is my calendar for this, maybe this season. I think about for templates, scheduling templates. And for the practices that I was in, our primary care practice, part of that leadership team. And we used to have a winter template, a summer template, a spring template, and a fall template. Why did we do that? Because those are different seasons and patients would do different things in those seasons. So the winter template was set up for holidays, slow times. We had a number of providers that would work. It was like even from the amount of new patients that we had templated versus the amount of established patient visits that we had templated, everything was different. Same thing for summer. Those are 2 very slow times compared to our fall templates and our spring templates. We had more slots that were available. We had more providers that were working because we knew those were our busier times. So when you think about your own personal calendar and how you're spending your time, there's seasons to things. I know for me, I love Q4. Absolutely love it. Like I get like this renewed energy. However, I know the closer that we get to December, I'm getting ready to turn it down. Like I'm getting ready to shut it off. And so I am in a place where even today, full disclosure, we are batch recording podcast episodes and we have one more episode that we have to record. And then I'm done, really. And then I'm preparing for 2026. And so a lot of it is, how is your calendar and what do you need from your calendar to set you up for success? Not only just for certain months, but is there certain seasons so during the summer, do you take more vacations? Is your calendar prepared for that? Do you know? So I was talking with a client earlier today, and one of the things that we're talking about is, what is the calendar for 2026? What are the vacations that you have coming up for 2026? What provider vacations are going to be coming at you for 2026? If you're not talking to your providers about what vacations they have coming up for 2026, then I feel bad for you, because you're going to have all these vacation requests potentially. And so whenever you're proactive about your time, when you're proactive about your calendar, when you're proactive for your team, then you'll make more money. You'll be less stressed. You'll have more freedom inside of your practice, because again, you're coming from a place of being proactive, right? You're not just coming from a place of being reactive. So one of the things I know is, when we talk about calendars, and once you get the data that you need of knowing where your time is going, once you're very clear on what your energy is, then you have to usually break something in order to grow something. And even as we think about business, anytime that you want to get to a new stage of business growth, you have to break what is currently happening. When we think about your calendar, it's the exact same thing. So how you're spending your time now, you probably have gotten pretty comfortable with it, even if it feels chaotic. If you were like, shoo, 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 like going from this place to this place to this place, that feels comfortable to you. But if you were saying like, man, I really need more freedom, or things feel so chaotic, or I'm missing things, then we have to get you out of those old habits. And that can feel uncomfortable, but we have to break those habits, and we have to reset your mindset in order for you to grow into who you envision, or to grow into the calendar that you want to have, or to grow your business into what you want it to be. So you have to break it to grow it is a really great saying that I actually came up with one of my clients, where you have to, in order to grow it, you have to break it. And when we think about the calendar, is anytime that you realize this is what's working about your calendar, this is what's not working with your calendar, then you have to start to get very clear on, it's going to be uncomfortable. So one of the things I always see is when our clients start to have white space in their calendar, where they actually have time to think, or they have time to vacation, or they have time to just rest. They don't know what to do with it. They're in a place where I need to fill it. I need to fill it with something. I feel like I'm being lazy. I feel like that I'm not being productive. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. I feel like I'm supposed to be at the practice, but I'm at this coffee shop. I feel like I should not be on vacation because my team is working, but I'm at the beach, And so whenever you're talking about that type of change, then it can feel very uncomfortable. And this is where we start to dive into boundaries. So if the boundary is, I am at the coffee shop and I am working, or I'm at the coffee shop enjoying my book and my nice cup of cocoa, then that is what you're doing. And so a lot of times people are like, well, let me go and find something wrong, or let me go and find a fire that I can put out because I'm feeling unproductive now because I'm reading a book in a coffee shop and having hot cocoa, and something is wrong. So let me find something that feels familiar, right? And so a lot of the work that we're doing is boundaries. Like, what's the boundary that you're putting in place? If you are out of office, your boundary is, I'm out of office. I have numerous stories. Once I got my stuff together and I was an empowered leader, I was owning my time, I was actually taking time away, I was able to go on vacation, I had a habit of thinking like, oh, my team needs me, so let me just go ahead and call and let me check in and let them know, like, I know I'm away, but I'm really thinking about you because I feel guilty. And I got on their nerves because they started to feel like, do you not trust us? Like, just go be away. Like, you scheduled your time away. Honor your boundaries. Like, that's almost like what they were saying to me. They would get so annoyed. Brandy, we'll see you on Monday. Like, it's like 3 days away. Just go enjoy your time. Enjoy your time. And it comes down to boundaries. I felt bad. I did not honor my boundaries. And so even a couple of episodes, we talked about the 3 things that a steadfast leader needs. You need discernment, discipline, and determination. So the discipline of honoring the boundary and the determination to make sure that the boundary sticks is really what's going to help you to leverage your time in the best way. So we have clients at this point in time. It's really fun. It's so fun to watch, like what happens. And so we have clients who go on vacation. Like we have a client who went to Greece and was away and did not open up her laptop one time. Amazing. We have clients who are now able to go and speak on stages at conferences, generating more business, bringing more brand awareness, and their team is now doing all the things that they need to do to help the practice run, because the whole point of this is to get your practice to run without you so you can go and move the practice forward, or you can go and spend time for yourself. And so it's really fun just to see what happens. So vacations in Greece, making more money, because you're speaking on stage, because you're not stuck doing $10 task, you're doing $10,000 task. We have clients who are able to come to retreats with us. That's part of the reason why, to be honest, like why we do retreats for our clients. So every single quarter, there's an opportunity that we lovingly force them to take time away and pour back into themselves. But also what happens in that process is they now have to have certain conversations with their team. I'm going to be out of the office. I'm going to be away. I can't answer the phone. I can't check my email. And now the team has to get used to, well, what are we going to do? Or they'll set up systems where, I really, like this past year or even a couple years ago, we had a retreat in LA and one of our clients was like, listen, she had somebody who quit. Listen, I got to go to LA. Like I need to go to LA. So her team gathered around that and helped her to be able to go to LA. That conversation probably wouldn't have happened if she hadn't set herself to actually have the free time to go to LA so she could be poured into herself. I think it's really fun just to watch how our clients' calendars start to change, they start to shift. And this is how we are able to help our clients make more money, get more time back on their calendar, so that way they can actually vacation, whether if it's coming to our retreats or not, because that's the other thing that happens, is they're able to go on family trips. They are making more money. So, money mindset starts to shift. And so it's just all comes down to time, because time is connected to money. If you were like, man, Brandy, I really, really, really need to get more time back on my calendar, or I am tired, then it goes back to you getting the data that you need so that way you can make a decision for what you need to do. I think getting very clear on what are you doing within your day-to-day. So this is where like the time audit comes into play. I think getting very clear on where the opportunities are to delegate and get things off of your plate. I think there's the opportunity for you to eliminate doing some of the things. A lot of times we'll do things just because we've always done them and we think that this is just what needs to happen. And that's not true. So if your practice, especially if your practice has been around for a while, then you might just be doing things for the sake of doing things. I also think because, especially if you're a clinician listening to this, a lot of times if you were still in the patient care arena, sometimes folks will just see patients because that's their comfort, but it's limiting the growth of the practice, or it's making you burned out, or it's making you tired. And especially if you have multiple providers in your practice, I was actually having a conversation with a client earlier this week with this, is your provider schedules aren't filled, but your schedule is killing it, and so sometimes you just have to redistribute workload. So getting very clear on what is happening with your schedule day to day, what is happening with your time and your energy, and then getting the data that you need in order to make a change and actually sticking to the change. It can definitely feel scary. I think the biggest opportunity that you have is like, why? So if you were just stuck in the grind of things, you're stuck in the hustle, what is it costing you? Like for me, when I was doing it, it was costing me precious time and moments with my son. It was costing me precious time to be able to focus on my health. It was costing me precious time to be able to actually lead my team in a more empowered way, because I was stuck at my desk with all the papers and just wanting to pull my hair out. And so when your time isn't allocated appropriately, or if you're burning out, there's a big cost to that. And so you have to ask yourself, what is it costing you? Take your power back, right? And so when I took my power back, when I honored my boundaries, and this is ongoing work. So I'm even, as I'm talking about this, I'm speaking to myself too. So it's not just like this work is not just one and done. I did one time audit and I redid my schedule and now I'm done. No, it's like my schedule has changed. My season has changed. My business has changed. So I need to change with it. My vision has changed. What I want has changed and I need to change with it. So this is evolving work. And so for you to get very clear on what do you want, what is it costing you, where's your time going, and getting the data, and then making a decision from there. So if you were like, Brandy, I really want to get my time back and I really want to step into that next level vision for myself, then I would love for you to join me for the Own Your CEO Status Masterclass. And so that is your next stop for where we will help you to really step into the vision that you have, for you to be empowered to step into that vision, and for you to be set up with the exact next steps that you need to take in order for you to get that time back that you want, to be able to make more money, for you to get to that next stage of business growth, to be able to truly be an empowered leader inside of your practice. So see the show notes or see the description box if you are watching so you can join me in the next masterclass. So that's it for today, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. Thanks for listening today. I hope you enjoyed the episode and it empowers you as the CEO of your practice. If you enjoyed the podcast, please make sure you subscribe, share the message, and leave a review. If you want more information and support in growing and scaling your practice, click the link in the show notes to take advantage of our free resources or apply to work with me directly. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.